Hello, my name is Alan Kelly. For the last nearly 20 years, I've been helping companies, teams, individuals improve their agile working. I come from a software development background, but I'm the first to say agile's spread out. Agile's everywhere now. I think increasingly it's clear that agile and digital are two sides of the same coin. Agile is both the product of digital and the way you need to work in a digital world. In the digital world, the business is technology and technology is the business. And together, agile and digital mean that companies need to rethink the way they approach work and the way they structure themselves. I've put together this little presentation to elaborate on some of those ideas. I hope you find it useful. Today, every business claims to be a digital business. And that's because digital businesses are growth businesses. If you look at the businesses that are growing fastest, businesses that are expanding, they are overwhelmingly digital businesses. They're either native, digitally born businesses, like Uber, or they are businesses which existed but have added this extra digital dimension to their business, and digital is now driving their growth. One of the best examples of that is Domino's Pizza. And so often when we talk about digital, what we actually mean is software. The digitization of business is really the softwareization of businesses as we embed our businesses and our business processes into software. Software products run digital businesses. The machines, no matter how powerful they are useless without the software. And it's the software that runs on those machines that gives us our special capabilities. It also means that business growth demands software changes. The idea that we can write the perfect software product and it will allow our business to expand for the next 10 years doesn't work. Even 5 years, 1 year, a month. If your business is growing, you will demand software changes. We are never done with software. Software lives the same way our businesses live. Software lives. If we stop the software, if we stop changing the software, if we stop allowing the software to evolve, then our businesses will also stop. Stopping kills software. We lose momentum, we lose people, we lose knowledge, and we lose business opportunities. This has implications for service providers, and I know those of you who are watching this as service providers, I don't have all the answers. We can talk about this. Maybe I've got some of the answers. In the 20th century, our business models, our business thinking was largely derived from the production line model, the Henry T. Fords of this world, who had such a great success with production lines, not just motor cars, most visible example, but it was those production line processes that made our massively tragic wars in the early part of the century possible. Those business processes, those industrial factory lines, were also a thing that underpinned our growth in the 50s and 60s and into the 70s. And that's where our management models and our thinking came from. Here we are in the 21st century, and 20 years into the 21st century, we're grappling with this pandemic. Our thinking needs to be moved forward. Our thinking needs to be different. Our model may still be what comes out of the car factories, but our model now is a Tesla, not a Model T Ford. Digital technology requires new thinking. You look at how a Tesla is not just different from a Model T Ford, it's different to the kind of T Ford inspired cars that came before it. Teslas need a lot less servicing. All electric cars need less servicing, less maintenance, because they have fewer moving parts, and because the computers in them can compensate in some ways. Yet those cars are updated. The software update never finishes. This requires new management models, new processes, new ways of thinking. This is what digital technology is about. We need digital thinking in digital business. When we talk about modern businesses, whether we use the expression digital business, or whether we talk about business agility, or whether you say 21st century modern businesses, it's all part of the same mix. What we're talking about are companies which have a similar set of attributes. We're thinking about companies which are customer-centric. They listen to their customers. They react to what their customers want. They look at their competitors. They react to competitor. Then they're not static. They don't continue to sell the same product again and again. They're fast, productive, and effective. That's kind of like table stakes, and they're continuous. They don't grind to a halt. They roll from one enhancement to another enhancement, from one new product to another new product. Look at Amazon. Amazon doesn't rest on its laurels. It produced the Kindle, and then it produced the Kindle Fire, and then it produced Alexa. It's always moving forward. These companies thrive on technology. Technology is not a ghetto somewhere. Technology is not a department. Their employees are engaged, or at least they try and have engaged employees. They produce quality products. They don't produce the kind of cars we had in the 1970s. They produce stuff that works. Yes, some's better and some's not so good, but on the whole, it works. And these companies are prepared to experiment, take chances, in some cases fail, because they recognize that is all part of learning and getting feedback. And yes, they use analytics and they use other mechanisms, but it's all part of this ongoing learning cycle. Such companies are building a competitive advantage by applying digital technology to customer needs. Look at what the customer needs. How can we service that using the new technologies we have available? Because with the new technologies, we can move faster. And with the new technology, the cost equations have changed. In many cases, costs have dramatically fallen. Before we go on, a word about me. These days, I call myself an Agile guide. Yes, that includes Agile coaching, but I do more than coaching. And I write books. Most of the material I'm talking about here kind of stems from the continuous digital book. I'm just finishing off a new book called Succeeding with OKRs in Agile, if you use OKRs. That's me. I help companies enhance agility. Look at these. Look at these companies. When will they be done? When will Tesco, my local Tesco, when will it be done? Is it when they've sold everything? Normally if I walk into a supermarket and there's nothing on the shelves, I'm going to complain. We had that last March, when shops started to run out of things like toilet rolls. It wasn't considered a success. But in the software world, that's how we measure success. On software projects, success is doing everything that has been asked for. Success is getting the backlog burnt down. Success is ticking all the must-haves. Something like that. That's okay when you're producing an add-on, when it's a side thing, but when it's the core of your business, you don't want to be done. Being done is going out of business. Look at these stores here. Some of you are probably wondering why there's a Woolworths in the bottom left-hand corner, because Woolworths didn't change. Woolworths are the same nickel and dime store everywhere for years and years. Eventually, people didn't want what Woolworths had to sell. Woolworths was selling on an old model, old goods. It wasn't listening to its customers. Woolworths went out of business in the US and then in Europe. I remember seeing a Woolworths, one of the final closing down sales in New York, and they were even selling off the cash registers. But actually, Woolworths still exists in Australia. Woolworths in Australia isn't the old stores we all remember from our childhood. Woolworths in Australia is a supermarket, the same as Tesco or Kroger. They sell food. People go there every week and buy things. Woolworths in Australia evolved. It became something different. In the modern world, if you want to evolve your business, if you want to move from being a nickel and dime store to being a supermarket, you need to evolve your software. Because you're a digital business, and your business processes and your business policies and everything else is embedded in the way your software operates. Put this another way, when will Microsoft Office be done? Yes? I'm probably not the only person here who's been frustrated with Office suddenly changing because you installed a new version and suddenly you've got a ribbon, or the menus have changed, or things have moved around or something. Or put this another way, imagine for a moment you are the head of Office. You're the Office product manager. One day you walk into Satya Nadel's office and you say, "Great news! We've finished Office. We've done everything that was asked for. You can redeploy the engineers. You can lay them off if you want. We can continue selling the product, but the software is done." What happens next? Office is Microsoft's cash cow. Microsoft gets money out of Office because it's constantly enhancing Office. But how they manage to sell us Office again and again and again, I don't know how many times I've paid for Microsoft Office license. But because Office changes, not just because they add new features, but the software we run it on changes, the operating systems change, my machines change, the environments change. Office is never done. That means you get repeat business sales. What is true of Office and software products is increasingly true of all businesses. Successful software lives, successful software enhances, like Office. Imagine it like this. Software gets delivered. We have some process and we deliver the software. Yay! Do people find it useful? Do people use it? If they don't find it useful, they're unlikely to use it. If people use it, they will ask for changes, what we call change requests. There will be change requests for added features, added business, change the business, the way the operating system, the hardware, bug fixes. These are change requests. In the IT industry, we've come to regard change requests as a bad thing. We've come to regard change requests as something we don't want. We erect change request committees. We review these things. We try and push them back. We don't want them. So we have to make a decision. Do we change the software? Don't we change the software? Now, if we change the software, we get a virtuous loop. We get a continuous stream of value enhancements as the software improves. Yes, we get new features. We get new business capabilities. We adapt our business processes. The software can change what we're doing. And we prolong the life of the software and move it onto new operating systems, new hardware. Yes? There's a virtuous loop here. While we change the software, people ask for changes. While we change the software, people find it more useful, and so it goes. This is good. This is the way business should work. This is the same as our supermarkets. While customers are walking in the front door buying things, the wagons are pulling up the back door and restocking us. On the other hand, if we don't upgrade the software, if we don't make those changes, if we say, no, we want to be done, we want to burn down our backlog, the usefulness degrades. Yeah. Unlikely that one refusal will completely degrade the software, but little by little, each one of those no's takes a tiny bit of usefulness away from the software. Not changing the software means our business processes and the way our business operates is fixed. We can't adapt the business. And so over time, the usefulness degrades. And eventually, people won't use the software, and the software will die. And this is not a happy place to be in. So we want a continuous stream of enhancements, adding value, moving our business forward. Success breeds continuation. If people use it, they will want changes. Changes will enhance usefulness. Usefulness will mean more people use it. More people use it means more change requests. And so it goes. It's a continuous process. For many years, software developers have been talking about continuous integration. It's a really good software development practice. Continuous integration has given way to continuous delivery. We don't wait to the end of the quarter, even the end of the sprint to deliver software. Teams deliver software many times a day. Continuous delivery. It's because of continuous improvement. Continuous comes up again and again and again. And continuous is just a version of that old mantra that change is the only constant. It's constant change. Which means we get a continuous flow of value. Continuous change drives value, delivers learning, and learning drives more change and more value. We need to think about structuring our businesses so we have models which allow for continuous working, continuous flow of value. Not the stop-start model we have with traditional IT projects, where future changes are dependent on a project getting funding. A project getting funding depends on many things. We need to structure ourselves for continuous working. Digital native businesses operate like this. The business is the technology and the technology is the business. These businesses now depend on software products. That is their lifeblood. They're not add-ons. Uber's a really good example. Why does Uber run taxis? Uber's got some great software there. They could sell it to other taxi companies. Yes, that would make them money. That's the way we've been doing things for 20 or 30 years in Silicon Valley. You get an idea for a product, you build the product, you sell it to companies. Yes, Uber's come along and said, no, we build this great product and we don't sell it so others can have great taxi services. We exploit it ourselves. Or the other way of looking at it is, why doesn't Uber buy that off-the-shelf software? Because it exists. I know taxi companies that use off-the-shelf software. Why does Uber run taxis? Why does it sell software products? If it's a taxi company, why doesn't it buy off-the-shelf software products? Uber is Uber because the technology and the business are intimately intertwined. Advancing the business requires the software to advance. Advancing the software advances the business. If we stop changing the software, we stop enhancing the business. We stop growing. The business is technology and technology is business. Another example for you, Ocado. This is the company here in the UK that delivers to my house. This is where we get our groceries from. You could ask the same question about Ocado. Why does that deliver? And Ocado started about 20 years ago delivering groceries, and they wrote their own software to do it. 20 years ago, there wasn't off-the-shelf software. So why does Ocado bother delivering? Well, the truth is, Ocado doesn't deliver in France, in Canada, in the US, elsewhere. Ocado sells their software and sells their technology. Yes, in the UK, Ocado delivered to my house. In the UK, Ocado is two companies. Ocado is both a grocery delivery company where we order on their website and their van shows up a few days later and gives our groceries. And it is the maker of technology. But Ocado use the expertise they created by creating their own platform, and they sell it to other companies. They sell it to Kroger in the US and Casino in France. They will not just sell the software for the website, not just the software for delivery drivers, but the technology to run the warehouse, the robots even to pick the foods out in the warehouse. It's all technology driven. This is their strategy. Again, the business is the technology and the technology is the business. Software products underpin every digital business, and we want that virtuous circle. We think about the software products, not the software projects. Take another example. Here's my bread machine. I love it. I make 3 or 4 loaves a week. This is my third bread machine because Panasonic designed one, 20 years ago. And after about 5 or 6 years, they tend to break. So I buy a new one, and the new one is pretty much the same as the old one. Panasonic designed it once, and apart from occasional little tweaks, they sell the same product again and again. Design it once, occasionally update it, build 1 million, sell 1 million. Very transactional sales. They're dependent on selling to new customers or selling replacements. And maybe next time my Panasonic breaks, I won't buy a Panasonic. I'll try a different brand, see if it lasts more than 6 years. Okay? Why doesn't Panasonic go digital? Why doesn't Panasonic make that product more? It could be a digital product, an Internet of Things product. Panasonic get to design it, and they get to continuously update it. That bread machine could be pulling down software updates over the web, over my Wi-Fi. Panasonic had an opportunity to sell and to keep selling. They could sell me a subscription. They could sell me enhancements. They could sell me new recipes, faster bread making. They could send me new software to reduce my energy consumption. They could send software to tell me when the machine needs maintenance, when it needs cleaning. Maybe the last two didn't need to break because they could have identified what the fault was. And either we could have prevented it or they could have sent me a fix kit. So this could be greener as well as Panasonic selling fewer machines. Those machines could last longer, and those machines could actually generate more revenue for Panasonic. So it becomes a relationship, not a transaction. It's a platform for selling more things on. Now, I know some of you are thinking we already do that. And aero engines are a great example. Rolls-Royce and GE have been doing this for years. They don't really want to sell airlines aircraft engines anymore. They want to rent thrust. They do exactly what I've just been saying. They monitor their engines remotely. The engines talk to ground control, and ground control knows that when a plane lands, the engine needs some work. The crew will be waiting there to fix it up. The airline aren't concerned about the engine. They're concerned about the plane getting from here to there. It just happens to need thrust. That model's existed. And it exists with our Teslas. It could exist with our bread machines. What's interesting is when you look at the numbers. 10, 15 years ago, this only applied to $40 million aero engines. Now it applies to $85,000 Teslas. Tomorrow it's going to apply to $250 bread machines. Do you spot something there? You see what I'm going to put up? It's Moore's Law. As Moore's law drives down computational costs, because yes, Moore's law increases capabilities, it also drives down costs. Those kind of capabilities that 10 or 15 years ago only made sense on $40 million products are going to make sense on $250 products and below. When we move to a digital world, digital creates continuity. I know we're all used to the idea of radical changes, but actually in the digital world there's a new type of continuity coming about. A continuity of products, a continuity of teams, a continuity of ongoing stuff. Because in that continuity there is opportunity. But companies need to structure themselves to deliver on continuity. At the moment, companies tend to see digital, they tend to see technology as a do something, done. Do something, done. What we need is we need to create ourselves. Like, it's not just a one-off thing and then another one-off thing, another one-off thing. All those one-off things make for a continuity of one-off things, and we need to structure ourselves for that. The IT department as we know it is gone. Now it's digital. The IT department yesterday was a cost center. People talk about technology enabling the business. Technology plays second fiddle to the business. There was an IT and the business divide. IT do one project, they get some more funding to do another project, they get some more funding to do another project, and so it goes on. Now in the digital world, it's continuous. The business is technology, the technology is the business drives business growth. We don't do project. We have continuous. We need to fund that as a business stream. The same as we fund human resources, accounting, marketing. That's how we need to see our digital departments. It's this virtuous circle we want to create again. 1981 was probably the high point of the IT department. The IT department still controlled mainframes and minis. The IBM PC came along, and the IBM PC offered departments a way of controlling those pesky microcomputers that were appearing, those Apple IIs over there. IBM promised some control. It didn't quite work out like that. The IBM PC turned out to be an even bigger disruptor. But look at the spec. This is what disrupted us. An Intel 8088 processor with 29,000 transistors. Not very many. 640 kilobytes of RAM. You've probably got more than that in your Fitbit. Floppy drives. And a display. 80 by 25 green screen? Huh? 40 years later, you may well have an iPhone 12 in your pocket with an integrated Apple processor with 12 billion transistors and 6 gigabytes of RAM. Full static state memory. Not floppy disks. Static memory. That's the difference 40 years makes in terms of processing power. But we're too used to this idea that our processing power has gone up and our size has gone down. In tandem, the economics have changed. This is an analysis from a couple of years ago, the iPhone XS, which sold for $1,000 US 3 years ago. If you went back nearly 30 years, the amount of storage in an iPhone XS, 256 gigabytes, would have cost you $11.5 million. To buy CPU power, computing power with 7 billion transistors, it would have cost you $7 million. The connectivity of LTE over the cell phone network, $10 million. So that's just $28.5 million before we consider half the other features, the display on the phone, the battery power. As our processing power has gone up, our prices have gone down, which has changed the economics of so much. This is one of the big drivers behind Agile, because as prices have gone down, technology has become more affordable. So things we had to do manually before, we can now do with machines, and Agile exploits that. So yes, we have technology change over 40 years, but we've also got process change, because as anyone who's spent time in technology knows, when you get a new technology, first of all, you do the same old thing, but you do it faster, better, cheaper. But over time, if you want to get the full value of that technology change, you need to change your processes. You need to change the way you're working. And we saw this with the move from traditional waterfall development to Agile development. The Agile movement isn't much about process change as it is about anything else. Taking our old mental model and saying, hey, we've got this new technology, we can change our process. We can move from processes that take weeks and months and even years to processes executing weeks We need to rethink how we do things to exploit the technology and get the full benefits of that technology. So, Agile and digital are two sides of the same coin. Agile is the result of digital because software developers had early access to those digital tools: email, instant messenger, voice over IP, webs, wikis, source code control systems, electronic repositories. And out of that, software people developed a thing called Agile. As those technologies spread out into the rest of our businesses and they digitize our businesses, those other aspects of business are going to benefit from Agile-like technologies, and Agile benefits from the digitization. So Agile and digital are two sides of the same coin. Back to our cars from the beginning. The mental models and the business processes we had derived from production line need to be updated for the 21st century, where we're no longer constrained by those technologies, but manufacturing. We're constrained by knowledge. We're constrained by our rate of learning. Our technology is so massively capable. We need to rethink how we manage things. Thank you very much. I'm Alan Kelly. Continuous Digital, my book, says more about this. Check out my other books, or drop me an email if you've got a comment, or comment below the video. Subscribe to the channel, as they say. Thank you very much. Goodbye.